listening to Blue Collar Takes with your hosts, Pat and Ben.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Pat, how's it going, brother?
Not too bad. How about you?
I'm living the dream, man. I am living the dream.
Did you get anything?
I went out Saturday opening day. I saw 40, a total of 40. Um,
You saw
I did
40 deer?
40 deer. I did not shoot anything. The closest I could have shot, I had like maybe six within 30 yards, and they were all small yearlings.
Oh, okay.
So I let them walk.
Hmm.
Um, I saw a giant of a buck, but he was such thick crap. I mean, he was probably 12, maybe 14 points.
Wow.
And he came through and he was on just an absolute freaking mission. He stopped for just a brief amount of time, but he was in such thick crap that, I mean, when he got into the crap, I couldn't even tell what his rack was because there were so many tree branches and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He stepped out and I was like, oh my Lord. I just didn't have time to react.
Yeah.
So he walked and like once they're on our property, we have our property sets up. It's in between two giant pieces of timber,
Hmm.
and we have a swamp and a section of woods. And then it used to be an old Christmas tree farm and like a pumpkin patch,
Okay.
which has since gotten overgrown and all that crap. And then we've leased out the fields to a farmer to farm hay and whatnot for his horses.
Hmm.
So there's plenty of food there. But the Christmas tree farm, they go in and they stay in there, and then they bed down. They just hide in there.
Hmm.
So right now there's deer piled up in that Christmas tree farm. It's all a bunch of spruce trees that are, between 15 and 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
So they're in there. I'll wait. I got a couple more days yet. I got all the way until next Sunday, and then if I want to do muzzleloader, I got that. But um, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, it was a good time. Had fun. Saw a lot of deer. 40 opening morning. I think I saw Sunday because there's less people in the woods. I think I saw up like 35, 30 or something like that. And then Monday I didn't hunt. Tuesday I didn't hunt. I'll be hunting tomorrow night, and I'll hunt Thanksgiving morning,
Yeah.
and then I'm doing Thanksgiving with the fam. What about you? What do you got going?
I work.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
You're
right.
on
I am.
vacation, bud.
I am on
Yeah.
vacation. You are
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll hold down the fort.
Ugh, yuck.
Yeah. I got 5 nights,
Yeah.
Wednesday through Sunday night. So,
And then I'm back with you next Friday.
yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yep.
I'm not looking forward to it. It's really nice. This whole vacation thing is actually pretty sweet.
Dude, 2 weeks off would be amazing. Mine comes up, so I take all mine at Christmas time. You know that because the
Yeah.
girl's birthday is like 6 days later. So it
Yeah.
just it just makes sense to do that.
It's nice having the schedule where you can take 4 or 5 days off and get 14.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. I suppose for you too, because you like taking the girls to Disney. I mean, that's got to be what you do for going to Disney as well, isn't it?
What, bro? We don't make that much money where I could go to Disney for 2 weeks.
But you do the same thing. You block off five
Well,
days, right?
yeah, I try to always block off the 5 days to get the 2 weeks. Like I try to
Yeah.
plan no matter how long we're gone. I try to take that whole 2 weeks because it's just 5 days, right?
Yeah. Right.
So and it gives you a full 2 weeks off. So it's
Right.
just nice to have. So yeah, I try to plan everything for a set that will get me that 14 days off.
How long do you guys go to Disney? What, like it's
Well,
just
we
three or
went
four
we went
days?
like 5 days last time, but we didn't. I mean, we didn't go to the park
Yeah.
all 5 days.
Yeah.
Uh, this next time, if we go next year, it'll probably only be 3 days because there'll be Brenda's a teacher, right? So she can't
Yeah.
get. We have to kind of work on a long weekend that she has.
Right. Yeah.
So
You get kind of whenever she's stuck with throughout the school year, I'm sure, huh?
correct. It's difficult for her to take time off because obviously they get the summers off. So they don't get vacation time. They can take a couple personal days here and there, and they're pretty
Right.
lenient on that, but she tries not to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I suppose. That just means, I mean, you guys packed a ton of stuff in the last time you went to Disney. You're just gonna have to do it all in 3 days now.
Well, we won't do it all. Obviously, we won't try to get as much in. Um, but it's more of we're looking at going like around Christmas time. It'd be the
Oh,
age,
that'd be
that
awesome.
they're really into Santa and Christmas and
Hmm.
also Disney. So like they do a big Christmas party
Yeah.
and after the after hours or whatever. So they close down the park and you buy tickets to this party.
Is that
So
what you
do
did with the
that.
princesses and all that crap?
No, 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 no. That was all wait in line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Good times, man. It's making memories. That's the important thing.
yeah, for sure.
All right, I suppose. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, I don't know. At some point, I want to stop talking about politics, but it's never going to happen.
It seems like there's just so much.
It is, yeah. I mean, now it's a lot of fallout from the election. It's a lot of um, you know, uh, appointments and stuff like that. Like just
Hmm.
trying to see, I don't really know who some of these people are, so I try to look for like
Yeah, doing the
any of
same
the
thing,
health
trying to.
any of the health stuff. I immediately go to RFK's profile and
Right.
then if what see what he's saying about it. And now I know like he's probably not going to talk bad about it, but you know who will and who I've noticed like Nicole Shanahan, his running
Hmm.
mate. She's like, there's a couple of appointments that if they get appointed, like she didn't want to name names, but she's like, we are working behind the scenes to make sure they do not get in there, right? Like, and so I'll look at hers, and she's said some pretty good things about these people, so that at least
I
helps.
I just heard a very similar thing about Pam Bondi,
What's that?
that there's some people that don't want her in there because she was in support of red flag laws for weapons. Basically, that's where, you can report your
Yeah,
neighbor and have their
yeah,
gun taken away.
hmm
And she did that in Florida. So she was in support of that. So there's a lot of Second Amendment folks that are like, yeah, absolutely not. We don't want her. But then there's a lot of people who are also like, hey man, she's got the experience to go after a lot of people that are part of the deep state that were using lawfare. So it's really strange right now to see what's going on because I'm watching to see how many of the swamp creatures make it into the administration. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's the problem, right? Like that was the problem last time, but that wasn't his only problem last time. His biggest
Mm-mm.
problem last time was Congress.
Right. And it sounds like he's going to have problems in the Senate and in Congress still
Yeah,
on his
yeah,
own side.
yeah.
Um, and that again is the swamp creatures. I mean, I think I just saw Lindsey Graham come out and basically say that Trump's going to continue the war in Ukraine. He has no choice, pretty much. I mean, that's kind of what he left it as.
hmm
And that's in stark contrast to what Trump was saying. But it's almost like some of these people are taking shots across the bow, like, hey, listen here, you're going to do what we want you to do, or we're not going to play ball with any of your other agenda.
Yeah, I think that excuse me, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there will be a little bit of that to start, but I don't think I I think they're just posturing right now. Like
Oh,
especially
for
Lindsey
sure.
Graham, especially
You can
Lindsey Graham.
tell.
He's a pile. Like
Yeah, he's a
he's
waste.
gonna fucking cave.
He's a waste of human.
I mean,
Um,
he was actively trying to get Trump to not pick JD Vance. So
of
that
course.
tells you where he stands at least on like, oh, I'm gonna listen to you. Because
Right.
goddamn well Lindsey Graham was one of the ones that he thought he could trust last time, and then he got all these people in his cabinet that were working against him. And Bolton came from Lindsey Graham,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
Bolton. I mean, Lindsey Graham is part of that. Paul Ryan, John McCain, John Boehner,
Yeah.
part of that squad. They were the Republican squad for a while, and those
Mhm.
fuckers were dirty, man. For
Yeah.
those that don't know, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, and Paul Ryan created ISIS.
Right.
I mean, legitimately created ISIS by funding the Muslim Brotherhood to overthrow, Mubarak in Egypt, and the same thing in Tunisia, and then moved over to Libya to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. All
Right. Yeah,
those
that was
weapons
all
that ISIS,
part of
yeah,
Clinton's plan, right? Like
well, it was all
they
Clinton's
were
plan
working.
and part of the what was it, the Arab Spring, Obama was calling it.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I mean, that they created ISIS and let ISIS basically run rampant. And I honestly still think that was part of the deep state plan to like solve the problem with the Middle East.
Hmm.
And their problem for the deep state was they're trying to get this like government to kick in where it's centralized, like a globalist agenda, right? So they want that one government where it's runs like a European Union, but they want it worldwide. You can't have that with the Middle East. You can't,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So why not create a force that's terrible and basically destabilize the entire Middle East, get rid of all the people who stand for their own sovereignty, like Bashar al-Assad in Syria and all these other, dictators. You just roll them all up into one. And George Bush started it by calling everybody the axis of evil. If you don't play ball with the United States, then you're against us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is that forced Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi was killing more terrorists, just like Mubarak. Mubarak was doing the same thing. And just like Bashar al-Assad, they were keeping the Middle East in check, and that wasn't working for the one world government because that keeps your sovereignty. If the Middle East stays in check and it's not a hotbed, you can't get involved if you're the United Nations, NATO, or the United States. So they created ISIS. I mean, they basically, whether it was inadvertently or whether it was potentially, I mean, through like intelligence agencies on purpose to
Hmm.
destabilize the Middle East, and then they were letting it grow. Remember, Obama called ISIS JV.
Yeah. The JV team.
There was the JV team, right? And we're watching videos. I can remember back, and when ISIS came out back at work, when YouTube was uncensored, and watching these ISIS guys roll an Iraqi army, like entire freaking battalions, and just gunning them down.
Yeah.
And the level of violence. I mean, they let them do everything. They let them get away with everything. And then finally, I think he had no choice. Obama did had no choice but to start doing some stuff. Eventually, Trump absolutely crushed ISIS in like two. And that's what our military can do when it's being used against a bunch of people who have nothing more than bottle rockets.
Right.
And I mean, against, you know, air power, that's exactly what it is. Your freaking RPG is a bottle rocket. It's not a good thing. But the example was set. I mean, that's Lindsey Graham, John Boehner, Paul Ryan, and the like. I mean, that's those guys. And Lindsey Graham is in that crowd. And he for sure got Bolton and a bunch of others that were war hawk, from that old Bush regime and passed them on to Trump. I mean, you're still seeing stuff happen. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that Biden's considering giving Ukraine freaking nuclear weapons.
Yeah. I don't. I saw that too. I'm not sure, man. Like that's not.
That seems a bridge too far, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's
That's.
necessarily that he's going to give it to him. I think it's just to try to goad Putin into doing something else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Maybe. Maybe.
Like, I don't think there's no one in their right fucking mind. And I mean, there's Biden administration is absolutely fucking retarded. Don't get me wrong. They're stupid. But there's nobody in their right mind who's going to give Ukraine weapons because that just gives Russia a first strike capability, unless that's what they want to do, unless they're going to burn Ukraine to the ground and then hold it over Russia's head. But that's how you start nuclear fucking Armageddon. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can't think that these people are that fucking stupid. Well, they're that stupid. I can't think that they're that fucking crazy. Oh, they're crazy too. I can't think that that's a win for them in any kind of category. You know what I mean? Because they're also the
Yeah.
preaching the peace and love and all of that kind of crap. You know what I'm
You know
saying?
what that, honestly, you know what that feels like? It feels like they're setting a trap to try to get Trump on some fucking like working with them before he's an, you know what I mean? Like some
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah. Like he's
Yeah.
undercutting the president of the United
Hmm.
States type
Yeah.
thing.
Just like they all did,
Yeah,
John
just
Kerry and
exactly
all of
like,
them. Yeah.
yep, Millie, all those people. Yeah, and you might be right. I mean, that might be exactly what it is, but he is trying to stave off fucking World War III. Did you see his post that he put on
Yeah. Yeah.
Truth
Yeah.
about the border and all that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it because I think
Yeah. Do it.
it's freaking amazing. So this is straight from his True Social, and somebody had it on X that I read today. As everyone is aware, thousands of people are pouring through Mexico and Canada, bringing crime and drugs at levels never seen before. Right now, a caravan coming from Mexico, composed of thousands of people, seems to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our country's open border. On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. This tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. Both Mexico and Canada have the absolute right and power to easily solve this long simmering problem. We hereby demand that they use this power, and until such time that they do, it's time for them to pay a very big price. That's boom. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
big.
Did you see Canada's response or Trudeau's response?
Within 2 hours, Trudeau had him on the horn trying to respond. I didn't
Yeah,
see
it
what he
was.
said.
He said they released a statement or maybe he put something out. I don't remember. I read it, so I'm not sure how he said it, if it's on camera or not. But he said that essentially that the problem's coming from Mexico, not Canada. Like, hey, it's not us.
Right,
Like,
of
hey,
course.
like relax. But obviously, it's partly Canada because of all the stuff that comes in from China and goes right through the border.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and then the Mexican president, who's only been in office for like 7 months or whatever, was like,
Obrador,
what
is that his
if
name?
no, it's a female.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she beat him out.
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but she essentially said, well, it's just gonna be a tit for tat. Like they're gonna put tariffs onto. Like, no, I don't think you understand how this is gonna work. Like, you're gonna lose all the car companies that were there because they're not gonna be able to afford to make the cars there.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's people don't get it, man.
Yeah.
It's the deep state that doesn't get it. It's the right now, I think what we're seeing, and it's kind of weird. We're seeing two sections of deep state because right, you've seen all these people that you're hearing they're going to resign before January 20th.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bye.
Janet Yellen just resigned and a bunch of other people. So I think what you're going to see is that side of the deep state is in full panic and they're in full surrender. They don't want any part of this anymore. They thought it was good while it lasted, but they were the ones that were there for the grift. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They were making money and it was all good and dandy when there wasn't a threat looming over them like an actual AG or an FBI or an intelligence agency that could be used against them like they've been using it against everybody else. So they're popping smoke, man. They're getting out of Dodge. But then you have the other side of the deep state, which are the intelligence apparatus. These are the Boltons, the frickin' what are their names? Clapper and
Brennan.
Brennan and even
Yeah.
James Comey and Christopher Wray of the FBI. These people, they're not going down without a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're sticking around for now and they're trying to do everything they can, I think, like you said, to either entrap Trump in some kind of bullshit that they've got cooked up or to start such a freaking headache for Trump that it's like having COVID for the first 2 years of his presidency. He's got to deal with an absolute mess and basically can't get anything else done because he's, in an emergency mode trying to deal with this absolute mess that's taken place. That's kind of what it feels like to me. Like, why else would you? I mean, they just gave long range missiles to Ukraine, which promptly turned around and used them by firing them into Russia, right? Russia responded with their hypersonic ballistic missiles, which were terrifying to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right away, I mean, responded. And then Russia said that, you know what, they reserve nuclear strike capability on the United States if need be. And Putin's telling everybody, like, hey, man, if you leave me no other choice, I'm going to do it. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Sovereignty for him is everything. If he's not going to have sovereignty, and the only way he keeps his sovereignty is by making sure that NATO doesn't put their missile defense system in Ukraine on his
Yeah.
borders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the United States would never let anybody who wasn't friendly to us be on our borders. If all of a sudden Mexico decided to side with Putin and so did Canada, there's no fucking way we would let them put anti-missile systems on our border and remove our assured mutual destruction threat, our nuclear option. We would never let
Yeah.
it happen.
Yeah.
But it's perfectly okay for us to do to Russia. after, agreements have been made saying that we would not do such a thing to cool down the Cold War, right? To stop the Cold War.
Mhm.
Um, it just shows you what it is. And these are war hawks. These are people where they can't leave, just like the Middle East, they can't leave. They can't achieve their goals of globalism with Russia having sovereignty. Russia is a giant problem. You know why? Because they need the Middle East to be solved. You can't solve the Middle East when Russia is backing up countries in the Middle East like Bashar al-Assad in Syria and stopping the overthrow being conducted by the CIA. It's exactly what happened in Syria. We know that now. We know that the CIA was operating in Syria trying to overthrow Bashar al-Assad by using Houthi rebels and rebel forces against Bashar al-Assad's Syrian military. Russia stepped in and stopped them. They gave them support and they gave them weapons and they gave them manpower. Russia backed up Syria. That's why Obama had to have the deconfliction line. That's why Obama had to draw the line in the sand and say, hey, we're going to carry out strikes against these people. Russia, don't be involved because we don't want an international incident. Well, now if you can't solve the Middle East, you got to figure it out. And that's why the NATO shit started to talk about, what's going on in Ukraine. 2014, Putin took Crimea.
Mhm.
Putin took Crimea because he needed the warm ports. You said that a long time ago in one of our original podcasts, right? He
Yep.
needed the warm
Yep.
seaports,
Yep.
and he
The warm
needed the
water
grain.
port.
He needed the grain fields because Russia was being starved out through sanctions.
Hmm.
So he took what he could get, and he also told NATO, back the fuck off or I'll take more, knowing that NATO was being pushed as it is right now, and we have proof on that. NATO is being pushed right now to carry out more attacks against Russia. They want preemptive strikes. And this whole thing stems from all that. So the whole point of this entire fucking global mess, if you think about it, it all stems back to our CIA, Lindsey Graham, Paul Ryan, John Boehner, and John McCain.
Hmm.
All of it comes back to the fucking Warhawk clan. That little brigade of fucking warmongers who wanted nothing more than to make their defense contract companies a ton of money and make profit off it themselves and help with the globalist agenda. Why? Because they're bought and paid for. That's what the deep state does. They buy politicians and pay for them. And now we are seeing it in spades, both in the Senate and the House, on both the Republican and the Democrat side. And that's why we're seeing all this, clashing in we need the Senate. He didn't have it last time. We needed Congress. He didn't have it last time. That's why we're seeing Mitch McConnell saying the shit Mitch McConnell's saying right now, because he's a giant piece of shit. He's a giant, disgusting, Chinese paid for and bought deep stater establishment scumbag that has existed and been allowed to exist in Washington to use the grift. He's bought and paid for.
Hmm.
It's gross, man. It's fucking gross. And I heard, Elon came out yesterday, I think it was, maybe it's today, and he said they're gonna basically put every Republican on blast who goes against the will of the American people. They're gonna put
Yeah.
them out there on X, and they're gonna expose everybody. And not only that, now I'm guessing, or I'm hearing, because some of the other people I follow on X are saying it, and they're connected, that Elon and Vivek are also going to look at where money is going as part of their venture, and they're going to want to make sure that the money that went to Ukraine didn't come back and find its way into Democrat coffers for the elections. So I don't know how they're going to do that or if they can even track that, but that's something they're going to look into.
Hmm.
And I think some of that money absolutely came back. You know it. I mean,
For sure.
and that's going to be a problem when that comes out. So, I mean, this is, we wanted this, and I know we want this. I know our country needs it, right? I mean, we need to have this solved, this problem that's been around forever to be solved. And it's the closest we've ever been to having it solved. But man, does this seem so fucking complex, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems very, I it seems like it's widening, right?
It's a
The scope.
geopolitical freaking, worldwide corruption scheme of not just one government, of all governments.
Yeah.
I mean, this is in France, it's in Germany, it's in
Hmm.
freaking Britain, it's in the European Union, all over. It's in NATO, it's in the freaking United Nations, it's in our country, embedded in our government. I mean, it's everywhere.
Hmm.
And that's the problem Trump is facing. Even if you fix ours, you got to fix the rest of the world too. Who's going to fix the rest of the world when they're out to get you?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what those guys are able to do and how fast they're able to do it and what they do. Like we've heard the stories from Twitter, what he did with Twitter. He sent out an email asking, "What did you do this week?" to everyone, right? He wanted to know what everyone did that week. And he apparently, I heard this thing, I saw this video. It was on Rogan actually. I'm not sure who was on there, but they were talking about what he did with the XAI
Yeah.
group. Did you see that video?
No, I
Where he
didn't see it, but I
where
caught wind of it.
he said that he one day he spent 18 hours in the office and he gave everyone 5 minutes to come in and explain what they do. Like
Wow.
it was like here's your chance. You tell me what you do and what, if you have anything that you want to do, like, like if you have any ideas or whatever. But it
Right.
was to like basically, what do you do?
Apply for your job. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically.
But he sat there for 18 hours and everyone had 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that shows you the dedication and what he
Hmm.
believes. I mean, because remember when he said he didn't need half or more of his workforce.
Right.
And everybody was like, "Oh, Twitter is going to collapse if you
Yeah.
fire all these
Yeah.
people. It'll never
80%.
run." Then he's like, "I think I can get rid of 80%." And then he did it. And look at it.
I
It's
think he got rid of like 92 actually.
That's insane. But
Yeah.
he made it. I mean, he went from people were abandoning Twitter because he
Hmm.
bought it and they were pissed off. And he
Yeah.
went from losing a ton of money to raking in tons of money.
Hmm.
So I mean, everything's back. I mean, this they tried canceling it and it just didn't work. Now they're going over to that. What is it, Blue Square or whatever?
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it
No one's really going over to that. I mean, people are adding it because they think that maybe it'll take off, right? Like, and you want to
it's
get your, like, for those that have shows and shit like that, like, you want to get your name, but that's going to drop off pretty fast.
well, it sounds like the only people that are going over there are the people that are mad at Elon and the people that are mad at Trump that didn't get their win. It sounds like the
Well,
majority of people are staying on X,
yeah,
but
I don't
there's a
think
lot of people that
anyone's,
are boycotting X now and leaving and going over there.
yeah, I don't think anyone's, at least the people that I've seen that have said like, "Hey, we're on Blue Sky now too." They're not leaving X. They're just like different podcasts and shit. Like
Oh,
they're gonna just book their name so that it's taken, so no one else can take it. You know
oh
what
yeah,
I
no,
mean?
no. That's yeah. I'm talking about the average person. I'm not
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
I haven't
podcasters and
I
all that.
haven't seen.
There's a Laura Loomer, I think, has it. It's a like a super cut of like hundreds of people, their little snaps or whatever, their I don't know what you call it,
Mhm.
screenshots, caps,
Sure.
Twitter, tweets, whatever,
Yeah.
of all these people that are saying, "Yep, we're done. We're going to Blue Sky." And all of them, everything that they say is like they have something anti-Trump in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's it sounds par for the course because I mean they want echo chambers. They don't want uh divisive, like a different opinion. They can't handle a different opinion.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's
Yeah.
what they're running away from the problem and they're going to live in
Sure.
their own little bubble.
But stuff like that, typically, what I was trying to get at, typical stuff like that, those reasons why you're leaving, that typically doesn't last.
I hope not. I mean, eventually they're going to come back to be trolls anyway, but I mean, I
Right.
hope that
Yeah. They're not
I
going
would
to get the
hope
engagement that they're looking for,
right. They're not
and
going to be fulfilled.
they're not going to actually leave. Like they may stay on both.
I hope so because that would make X a lot more boring if there wasn't a lot of this crap to
X
look at.
listen, X isn't going anywhere.
No, but it could get boring if we don't have Joy Reid to look at, making herself look like a fool.
Well, if he buys MSNBC, then we're not going to have her anyway.
I know that's I heard that when I was in my stand. I was
Mhm.
sitting there, I was freezing my ass off. I got bored right around noon, and I pull up my phone and I start scrolling through stuff, and she is just hot and bothered that Elon might buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The
pretty
and
funny.
my buddy Joe, not happy at all. I It makes me laugh because who was it? The CEO, um, and I'll find it. The CEO of
Axios.
what was it, Axios,
Yeah,
was saying that
that had the meltdown about Elon saying that it was over for them.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, the new Axios CEO melts down over Elon Musk telling X users, "You are the media now." Mounts passionate defense of dying legacy media, and oh, what does he say? My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. Social media people lying every day, every hour, every minute about the news. What you do matters. What the New York Times does matters. What Wall Street Journal does matters. Uh, yeah, you just basically said everything that you do. You lie constantly.
Hmm.
It's amazing. Like, how do you get up in front of people? Well, because they're just your supporters, you know what I mean? But you know you're
Yeah,
full of shit saying them.
yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? Like you know for sure you are absolutely full of shit
But
because they know
that's
they know
also
what they're
his
doing.
job, right? That's also his job.
Yeah, I guess
Try
that's a
to
good way to
save it.
look at it. He is the guy that's
Yeah, like
trying to save it.
if it goes down while he's there, it looks terrible for you.
Right. I've been seeing stuff like this. Like here's another one. Listen, this guy's name is Paul on X,
Hmm.
and he's not very happy. He says, "Listen up, MAGA fucktards. Let me make this crystal fucking clear. Don't dare fuck with me or my followers for the next 4 years. You're in for a world of fucking pain if you do. We won't back down. We won't be silenced, and we sure as hell won't let you fuck with us. You think you can intimidate us? Think again. You pathetic, small-minded fucks. We're ready for you. We're ready for your bullshit, your hate, and your fucking ignorance. And we'll fight back every fucking step of the way. So bring it on, you fucking cowards. Bring on your best shot. We'll be here standing strong, fighting for what's right, and giving you a mouthful of fucking reality. You can't handle the truth, and you sure as hell can't handle us. Remember this, we are not alone. We're a fucking army of people who believe in justice, in equality, and in a better future. And we won't let you fucking destroy that. So keep your fucking hands off us and prepare to face the consequences if you don't. Now go fuck yourselves and think about what you're really fighting for. Hint, it's not freedom, it's not democracy, and it's sure as hell not the American way. You're fighting for hatred, for division, and for your own fucking selfish interests. And we won't stand for it. Fuck you, MAGA. Fuck your hatred. Fuck your ignorance. And fuck your pathetic attempts to silence us. We're here, we're loud, and we're not going anywhere. Deal with it. I mean, they're just
That's
like,
interesting. That's
right.
somebody just screaming for attention.
Well, it absolutely is, but that's partly because these people are fucking crazy. They honestly believe this shit they're saying. They're saying we're the hateful ones when they go to every rally that someone puts together and spray people with fucking, bear spray and throw rocks at people and fucking fireworks at people and physically assault people. And they label you a Nazi for freaking speaking your mind or for having a different point of view. You go to a Trump rally, nobody's doing that. Nobody's bear spraying spraying somebody with bear spray at a Trump rally. They're the ones getting sprayed. Nobody's following anybody out of a Kamala fucking event and saying their wife should be raped. I saw Dan Bongino's wife get freaking absolutely destroyed with Dan Bongino right there, leaving a rally a few years ago, or leaving an event a few years ago, saying those types of things. So we're the hateful ones? Are you serious right now? Like these people are fucking nuts, bro. And
Yeah, part of me, honestly, like part of me, I don't even think that they believe it. To be
the
honest, I
the
think
shit they're
they're
saying,
trying to. Yeah, some of the shit, some of it.
really, really,
Yeah, I do. I think they're trying to get clicks, man. Like
am
they're
I
just
giving them?
trying.
Am I just giving them too much credit that they're crazy?
Yes,
You
a
think
lot.
so?
I think there's a lot out there that are crazy, right? Like
Yeah,
there is on both sides, but there's a lot out there that are just like trying to be the shit stirs, trying to get the attention, trying to get the likes and the all that
yeah,
shit. You know,
yeah. Maybe I'm freaking off base here. Maybe they're just. You're right. Maybe it's just clickbait.
I don't think you're completely off base, right? Like there are definitely people that feel that way. I just don't think it's as many as are on actual like online posting shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I've over the last week I've watched a lot of YouTube, and there is a lot of fucking blue hairs, purple hairs, pink hairs, and a lot of fucking soy boy beta men out there that are just melting down. But again, could be for the clicks, could be for the views.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just simply attention.
Well, I have a different like I don't know. I don't want to make this. I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
to earn
go.
us a. I don't want to earn us a third fucking strike. But I have a different viewpoint on this.
Hmm.
I think that I'm gonna use the trans thing for a second because
Okay.
we all know I don't give a shit if you're trans. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. I don't care. It's no skin off my ass. I don't give a shit. You do
Hmm.
you. I'll do me. Just stay the fuck out of my way and leave our fucking kids alone. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
that's all. We can coexist as you like to say on your bumper stickers. But those are the terms. To coexist, shut your mouth. Don't lord it over my head. Let me live my life the way I want to live. You do whatever you do. I'll be respectful to you. You be respectful to me. That's how we coexist, right?
Hmm.
Whatever you do in your own time and you're behind your closed doors or even out in public, how you want to dress, you have a right to free speech. I fought for that right. That's yours, buddy. You go ahead and take it. But your rights exist so far as mine don't get trampled on, right?
Hmm.
That's when your right of whatever stops existing when you think yours is supersedes mine. That's where we have a problem. But with this whole trans thing, what I think happened is a lot of people came out of the woodwork and jumped on the bandwagon, right? I think
Hmm.
it became the cool thing to do for whatever reason, where it
Hmm.
became this fad almost, and people were just like, "Damn the man," almost like it was a 1960s moment all over again, anti-Vietnam War bullshit. But this time it was, "Damn the man, we're trans, we don't have to identify a certain way," and there seems to be a common theme when you look at these people who are all fighting in the same circles for this trans stuff, they seem to be people who probably got shit on a lot by people around them in school, maybe, or
Hmm.
wherever else, right? So they
Yeah.
latched onto something that had power and gave them power, and
Gave them power.
they will never let it go. And that's fine. I get it. We've all dealt with assholes in our lifetime. All of us have dealt with assholes. But it just seems like this whole fad of being so angry, like all the celebrities, right? One comes out and says, "I'm leaving the country if Trump gets elected." And then pretty soon it's like the fucking fad for celebrities to do,
Yeah.
right? Everybody wants to come out and say they're leaving. Well, then fucking go. Go. Don't say it and not do it, you fucking coward. You said it. Now do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we're seeing with all these people too. Some of it for sure I think is clickbait, but and some of it for sure is people that have mental fucking problems. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is because it's the cool thing for their group to do right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the cool thing, damn the man moment for them, and they want to keep that power. And the reality is, you motherfuckers don't have power.
Right. Right.
Even the people on our side don't have power.
No.
That's what we're trying to change. We're trying to take back the power from our government and bring it back to we the people. But you can't handle that. I'm sorry, but that's what we're trying to do because the rot is so fucking big and they became part of the rot. So
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, it is probably about the clicks. It's about the views, right? I mean, that's I mean, anything. It's about the money, and the more views, the more money they have on YouTube. But I just feel like I don't know. It's got to be a mixture of all of it because we
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I don't.
it's
I don't think that's exclusive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean like every one of them. There are for sure crazies. There are for sure people that are just getting into it, right?
Mhm.
Like they think it's a cool thing to do. Like all these people freaking out about how this is their villain origin story. You know, like all this
Yeah,
bullshit. Yeah.
yes,
Like some people are just getting on board like it's trendy, right? Like
that
the
is
whole
exactly it.
the whole thing anyways. But there are people out there also, I think that and those are the ones that you see more, I think, because obviously they have the followers or they get the views and the
Mhm.
clicks. And so you see those a little bit more, at least for us, because we're not following these people. We just see the videos pop up
Right,
and like other people posting them and for those people I think it is the money game.
for sure. Yeah, and you know, it almost makes me feel bad. It makes me feel bad for the people in their community that are legit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like the
for
ones
sure.
that do want to transition all the way over, that honestly believe that it's not just some cool hip thing to do. Like I saw a video today of some lady who's got an 18-month-old child and their child doesn't have a gender. And
Mm.
on their birth certificates, it's listed as unknown. They don't have a name for their child. Their
No
child's
name.
no name.
How
Their
I
child's
didn't
are
think that was allowed.
it's somehow it's allowed. They're
Okay,
I'm sure they put a name on a birth certificate, but they don't
sure.
use the name for
They
the
don't
child.
use the name. Yeah, okay.
Right. And their pronouns are they, them. And they're gonna wait until the child's old enough to decide if it wants to be a boy or a girl, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you want to bet? Because there are obviously fucking crazy. This lady's mom, as she's talking about her child, her own mother didn't know, and she said this. She used these words. She didn't know what genitals our baby had for 3 months, for 3 months after the baby was born.
Who?
Her own mom. So this
How is
lady's
that?
mom, the grandma, because she never told him.
Oh! I thought you were talking about the baby's mom.
The
Like,
baby's
what
mom
the?
knew.
Okay,
So
yeah,
her mom, the
obviously.
baby's grandma, had no idea. Then she used the words genitals, right?
Mhm.
Because it could go both ways term. So how much do you want to bet this child, this kid, and to me it looks like it's a boy. How much do you want to bet this, I'm gonna say little boy, whatever, it could be a girl, biological, whatever it is, gets to be 4 or 5 years old, and whatever is trendy at the time is what this mom is gonna impress on this child.
Well, yeah, there's going to be projection one way or the other.
How often have we seen that story? You know what I mean?
Well, look at
And
Hollywood, right? Like
absolutely.
they have the most
How many
trans kids per
how
capita than
yeah,
any
how
other
many
group.
are there right now? I mean, it's
There's a ton.
ridiculous.
It's a
And
ton. It's a
they
trend
keep
thing.
they keep bragging about, right, they got to be cool, they got to be hip, they got to be the first. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Fuck the fact that it's screwing your child up.
Hmm.
We got to be first. We got to have this. I got to have a trans kid. Hey, you're trans now. Oh, you like pink? You must be gay, or you must be trans. You must be a girl. You like pink because you're a girl.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. It's fucked up what's taking place. And
Yeah.
and like I said before, it's carried over to our military, right? Our military is infested
I
right
mean,
now.
until January 20th.
Yeah, and you know what? It needs to change. I'm gonna play a video from our military. This is a commander of the Space Force.
Oh, this is the one you sent me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want you to listen to this, and then I want to talk about something afterwards because
Hmm.
this is fucking insane.
Hmm.
If I can get the fucking thing to rewind.
Major, right? It looked like
Yeah.
it looked like oak
Uh,
leaf. Is that right?
I can't even see a rank on the video.
I just saw it on the epaulets,
Lieutenant Colonel.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Yep. All right, here we go.
All too often, I hear leaders talk about providing everyone with dignity and
I just fucking stopped it.
Yeah, you hit it with the microphone.
respect like it's an aspirational goal. That's not good enough. Dignity and respect is the bare minimum. It's the floor of where we can be. We must set our sights higher and focus on intentional inclusivity because there are still far too many people out there, not just LGBTQ individuals, that feel marginalized, shut out, or discriminated against. So, for all of you out there, I ask you to set out your symbols of pride, share your pronouns in your email, particularly if you're a person who doesn't think they need to. Initiate difficult conversations about racial and gender barriers and share a bit of your vulnerability in a way that draws others in. You all have the power to take intentionally inclusive actions to ensure the multiple perspectives that we know make us stronger as we devise winning warfighting strategies get heard. So we bring in John Coleman, Ethan San Diego this morning.
The very end there is what gets me. As we devise war fighting strategies, right?
Hmm.
That's the job of all military branches is war fighting, right? Now here's the deal. We already talked in the past about how fucked up it is if you're going to fight in a Muslim country to have a trans woman in charge of anything, or a trans woman kill somebody, or a trans man kill somebody that's Muslim, because you're creating more terrorists than we ever would dream of with that propaganda that'll be pushed out after that.
Yeah.
We don't want our war fighters to be inclusive. I know that sounds bad, but that's the truth. We don't want inclusivity in our war fighters. We want our war fighters to be junkyard fucking dogs. We want our people to be the baddest of the bad, ready to fucking rock and roll and be ready to kill always. We ran around calling cadence talking about chopping people up in mosques to desensitize us. We didn't run around calling cadence talking about pronouns and inclusivity. One thing about inclusivity, and I love how they brought in there, like there's marginalized people everywhere. This trans woman did, this trans lieutenant colonel did. She's from the Space Force.
Mhm.
I love how she brought in like race and like, there's other people that are marginalized and she's trying to say that it's race based, right? The one thing that equalizes all men is the battlefield. I can't tell you, there's some of my buddies right now who live in at Los Angeles, right? They're black dudes.
Mhm.
If they texted me tonight and said, "Hey man, I need some guys to come over here. I got a problem. We got to roll deep." I'd be on a plane tomorrow. Wouldn't even matter. My wife knows that. My wife knows
Mhm.
that if some of my buddies who are living their lives in other places in this country were to call and say, "Hey man, I need you to step up," I would fucking step up. I wouldn't even ask a question. I'd be on a plane. All right, Roger that. What do I need to pack? That's the only question. Do I need kit or do I just need to show up?
Mhm.
That's the question.
Yeah.
And we don't want inclusivity on the level they're talking about. If I have to freaking include you, if I have to make your mental status a part of my inclusion, you can't fucking cut it on the battlefield. If I have to treat you differently than I treat everyone else, you're not going to make it on a battlefield. I'm sorry. You're the first casualty. And if you're not the first casualty, you're the first person to cause somebody else to be the casualty because it's not the guy who sucks or who's a fucking piece of shit that gets hit. It's the
Mhm.
stud next to him that's covering down for him so he doesn't get killed that gets hit. That's how the battlefield works. So this DEI woke requirement bullshit, it's gotta fucking go, man. And it's only getting worse. Like these people are coming out left and right. And yes, I know Hegseth is going to get rid of it, and I know Trump is going to get rid of it, and they are going to go down screaming, kicking and screaming that it's so unfair, and it's fucking awful, and how dare you, stereotype me, and you're a misogynist and you're a homophobe. No, 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 none of that's true. We're war fighters. You cannot be both. You don't get to be politically you know, political ideology or an ideologue and a warfighter. You are apolitical in the military. You don't get that choice. You identify as something more than a warfighter. You identify as trans. You don't get to do that. You're a warfighter. You're a killer. That's your job.
Mhm.
You're on the line. You're special operations. You're a special operations killer. You're a regular army infantry kid. You're a fucking infantry killer. You're a dick. You're a dedicated combat killer. That's what you do. And these people want it both ways, and you can't have it both ways. They can't hack it mentally. If they can't hack it mentally because somebody doesn't want to accept them for their preference of what they want to look like or dress like, they definitely can't hack it on a battlefield. And they shouldn't be being you shouldn't be sending our soldiers, our airmen, our sailors, our Marines, you shouldn't be sending them to these fucking classes to require them to learn how to be more sensitive.
Mhm.
What the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
Do you think China is fucking sending their soldiers to learn how to be sensitive? Or do you think they're lining them up and teaching them how to kill with reckless abandon? Do you think Russia is sending their guys to be sent through sensitivity and inclusivity training? Do you think Iran's doing that? Like, do you think North Korea is doing that? Do you think anybody that we could possibly fight against is doing that with their soldiers? No, not a chance. Just us. Just us and the Western allies. Why not? Right? Why not push down? Why not fucking create a weaker military so that what the war between Russia, China, and everywhere else becomes more tempting? Then we can all fucking jump in at once. I mean, it seems to be their playbook. I mean, even here with this NATO freaking uh the NATO military committee chairman says that a preemptive strike against Russia needs to be considered. A preemptive strike by NATO against Russia?
Mhm.
Why? Why? What are you doing? Are you looking to expand the war? What's Russia going to do if NATO strikes Russia? What are they going to do? They're going to fucking
Yeah.
retaliate. And how
Yeah.
are they going to retaliate? The NATO alliance is like dozens of countries. How is Russia going to retaliate? They can't do it on the ground. They can't do it through the air. The only way they can
Mhm.
do it is with nuclear weapons. These people are fucking stupid, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand. I I don't know. Man, I don't even begin to understand what do they accomplish by putting this out there?
Honestly, I think it's just like you said to make more headaches for Trump. I think
Yeah.
it's I think it's
It's
uh
the only thing I can think of is that they're trying to bait him into contacting him without official channels, and they can go after him like they did with the Ukraine shit.
they did it last year with Flynn or last administration with Flynn too, right? Like he
Yeah.
did something, they said they caught him lying, and the FBI changed things and did things and went after people
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
like did all kinds of craziness. I maybe you're right. Maybe they're doing that again with Trump. They're setting him up. But if he
That shit,
doesn't step in,
it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna fly this time though.
no, I don't think so either. I think they're far too smart. I think they're this time they know the game, they know the playbook. They don't have a mole on the inside of their transition team or their campaign. He's not going with just the freaking I want this guy and I want that guy in your administration. He's not letting people pick for him,
Well, they still haven't. They're still not using the government for the transition, right?
right?
They're still not. So they're not letting anybody in that way. He's contacting them through Truth videos by saying what he's saying. That's getting to him. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how he's doing it. So I think you're right. I think he is smarter this time with it, or the entire group is. They get it now. Like they get how it was used against them before anyway,
Yep.
and how to get around that with social media posts. And so yeah, that's why but that's what it kind of feels like. It's just trying to bait him into saying or doing some
I
shit that
know if it feels gross, dude. Like there's something coming. Like we can both feel it. I'm sure a lot of
Mhm.
people are having the same thought right now. Like there's something coming, and it feels gross.
Yeah.
And I still believe people are going to try something. They're going to try an assassination attempt. I still believe at the inauguration. I mean, there's a video I saw today of some dude. Did you see that video?
Yeah, that dude's not making it within 500 yards
Oh
of
no, no,
the
not
inauguration.
even a chance. Not with what he's saying. I mean, fuck, you put that out there now with the facial
Well,
recognition
no,
stuff.
even if he hadn't put anything out there, that dude wasn't that dude was clearly unstable. Like they're gonna fucking see that guy from a ways away.
Right. Yeah, I mean
And those
he's
people, you're gonna have those people saying shit all the time. They ain't gonna. There's nothing. This is gonna be the most secure area ever.
yeah. I don't know. I still it probably I mean it is going to be the biggest and most secure inauguration ever, at least
Yeah,
for Trump's behalf.
yeah.
I don't know that it's going to be that way for the Trump supporters. And
Well,
my
that
worry is less for Trump now and more for like I don't know, like a
they'll
mass
keep the
shooting
they'll
or
keep
a
that. Yeah, I and for sure there could be that would
that's
be
my
very hard
to stop. I
to
mean,
defend.
I don't know you could if there's three or four
No,
shooters and they do that. My
I
worry is
mean,
now for Trump supporters and like because it fits the model, right? Like, oh, and then they're gonna do
yeah.
the same shit that they always do. It's guns, 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 guns,
Mhm,
guns.
mhm,
It's not the fact that the media said everybody who's Trump supporters a Nazi. It's
mhm.
not the fact, and then the media will turn it
Well, I
three
think
days
that's
later.
that's even backfiring on them at this point.
Oh, of course it is, but the media still rolls with it. They're still
Well, they
doing whatever they're
can
doing.
they can roll with whatever they want, but no one believes them.
No, nobody. Well, none of us do, right? None of the people who are paying attention
Well,
and going out
I
and getting the
think
facts
even
themselves.
yeah, I think even most of the people in the middle and some on the other side, right? You get the extremes.
Yeah, right,
You're gonna
for
get the
sure.
extremes, but um, as far as like on the, I don't, I think it could happen somewhere outside of DC. I don't think anything happens like near the inauguration, but
Yeah,
it could be. I mean, there's gonna be so many people in town that um, and a lot of those people are gonna be armed themselves. So especially
oh
if they're
man,
not in DC, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if
right,
they're
right, right.
outside of DC, like
I don't know, man. I wish I had that kind of confidence level. I
well,
don't.
I'm not saying there isn't anything. A mass shooting's not going to happen, or a targeting shooting, like
I hope that, like, this is gonna sound terrible, but I don't have faith in our government. I don't have faith in the people like the Secret Service based off of what we know with Bro and those folks that are running the Secret Service right now. After J20th, I'll start to have a lot more faith in these branches once people that are solid get in there. I mean, you see what they're saying about Tulsi Gabbard being bought and paid for by Russia, and she's an asset of Russia because she went to freaking
Yeah.
Syria and asked what the Syrian problem was, why Russia was there, wanted to get to the bottom of it, and found out that it was our backed rebels that were trying to overthrow Syria for absolutely no reason other than the fact that we're trying to create the Arab Spring and all that jazz.
Mhm.
And she took a stand. She doesn't endless war is what she's kind of taken an opposite stand to. And that's kind of what every soldier who's ever been in war, they take that stand. Like, why the fuck do we have to keep getting in fights?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You carry a big stick and walk lightly. You don't fucking carry a big stick and swing it around everywhere you go. That's stupid. You don't need to do that. But they're going after her hard. And I just, God, man, I don't know, man. I don't have any faith in, like, right now, zero faith in the people that are in our government protecting anything at this point. I just don't. And the reason why I don't is because of what I see all over the world with the deep state, where I see them sending money, the things I see congressmen and senators saying, the shit I see the media saying. And any defensive force has to be right 100% of the time. The enemy only has to be right once.
Mhm.
And that makes the job really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Really fucking hard. And I just don't see until it gets fixed that he's got the right people around. I know there's great dudes protecting him. I'm not saying all Secret Service people are piles of shit. There's really good dudes there, I'm sure, and they're really ready to do their job. And the DC police, I'm sure there's plenty of that are really good dudes that are going to do their job. And hopefully they bring in the National Guard and have that, like, fuck, they built a fence around the Capitol for however many months that was, right? And had National Guard there after J6. Maybe you bring it out before. Do that.
Well, I'm pretty sure
make this the safest.
the National Guard's been there before for inaugurations.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. Honestly,
You don't really see them, right? But they're there and they're back a ways, and they're just there for like riots and shit.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they got. Well, I know they got called out for the last one, right? Because that was after J6.
Let me ask you your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself in Trump's shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's your inauguration. You just get inaugurated. You're now the president of the United States. A riot breaks out. Do you have them put that riot down hard?
It depends. It depends on what's going on. If it gets out of control, yes.
Like, I
But
mean,
like
so
if it's a protest
talking...
if it's a protest that like, we're not talking like, if it gets like George Floyd, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like if they're just breaking windows and shit, and that's not, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to agitate something, then no. If they're starting to light whole blocks on fire,
you let them act their fuckery out until they start doing shit that's like serious damage.
You just start fucking marking them with paintball guns, and you try to get them later on. Or they're trying to escape, or they're not.
Yeah,
box them in,
and frickin' take the ones that you need.
Yep,
that's what they did in Portland. Remember that? We were watching that shit where they were
mm-hmm.
constantly there. Those guys were trying to bombard that. Was it the government center? And they would pop dudes with frickin' paintball guns, and then they would wait, and then they'd run right out, grab their ass, and throw them down. And
they'd wait until they presented, and then grab them.
And then they'd roll around in the vans trying to find them. And if they found people with marked with paintball, they'd jump up,
and grab them,
throw them in the van.
That's what I think. That's what I think you do.
It's a good idea. See, like I don't know, like I kind of feel like he's being baited there as well. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like if they're just trying to bait, like they're causing damage, but it's not like a significant amount of damage.
It's only going to make them
I don't
look
think
bad.
I don't think you take the bait. But if they start burning down entire blocks, yes.
It's a no-win situation for you if you go in hard and fast right from day one and you start cracking skulls and knocking teeth out if they're making themselves look like shit, right? The
Right.
American people just put you in power with a
Yeah.
resounding victory. If the first thing that happens is the opposing side starts getting violent and riots, let them do it until they start burning shit down and you have to grab hold.
Yeah. I
Don't let
would
it
let
get as far as walls, let it go. But
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I think you're right. I think you have to
You
take a step back.
you have to let them commit to like serious damage. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Once that happens, then you go in hard, but not before then.
You just
You
let
let
them
them
ruin.
show and be like, listen,
Yes.
this
Show
is
me
what
who
we
you
did.
are.
This is why we did it because we cannot afford to let this keep happening.
Right. And they'll show exactly why he's been put in freaking office too.
Correct.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure. Because people know that they're going to do that. It's just a matter of what scale is it going to be.
I've been asking people the same thing. I've asked you're probably the seventh or eighth person I've asked now. Like, what do you think? What do you do if you're President Trump and that happens? And everyone has had the same answer. Isn't that fucked up? Like, I would have thought by now I would have come across somebody who'd be like, no, what, fuck that, man. Don't let them get away with shit. Go in there
Yeah.
hard, knock their shit out, and say, no, you don't get to fucking do this anymore. But I think that's our side of the coin, right? Like, our side is a little bit more reserved. We don't want to crack your skull. You go ahead and exhibit your freaking right to free speech. Go ahead and protest. You're mad. Roger that. Got it. But there's laws, and you're not
Mhm.
going to destroy a block of fucking some city.
Right.
Once you start becoming violent and you become uh dangerous or a detriment, well,
Yeah.
then you're gonna get your fucking skull cracked. You're gonna get fucking marked, and you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna get balled up. You're going to jail,
Hmm.
and you're not gonna have somebody bail your ass out this time.
Well, I mean, if they go to jail in DC, they're going to get bailed out.
Isn't it
But
though? If you're in DC and you are against certain installations, it's a federal crime, isn't it?
well, if they start attacking government buildings, sure, but they're never going to do that. They're
Yeah, I
going to
suppose it's
attack.
just gonna
They're going
stay
to
in the
attack
fucking.
like a mall.
What did they do last? That was the church last time they burnt. Wasn't that?
That
That's
was the
not a
church
government
across
installation.
this. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
church across the street. So they tried to take down the statue that was there, but that wasn't. That's not really.
yeah, because the statue belonged to the church.
I don't. Wasn't it Lafayette Park?
I
Uh,
don't remember.
I
Honestly,
thought
I know
I
it's
thought it was the park, the National Park Service, and
it started
owns that
in a
park.
national property and then it ended up at the
Yeah,
church.
at the church.
The fire was the church.
Yeah, so I don't. They're not gonna. They're not gonna. They're not gonna do anything to any national monument or anything like that, where it's the Park Service or whatever.
Yeah.
They're gonna go and hit some commercial building.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll stay off government property.
Hmm.
But
Because they know they'll get away with it in DC.
oh yeah.
Like
Well, I mean,
it's as far as city goes.
there's five places where you're gonna get away with it, and it's Washington State, Oregon, California, Minneapolis, and DC. And
Yeah,
that's where you're gonna get away with shit if you
yeah, it's
say,
Chicago.
I would have said that too, like Chicago, but honestly, I think the streets will kick your ass before you get away with
Well,
it.
yeah, that might be, but
I don't think that the same kind of this is gonna sound.
if you have a giant protest though, it's not going to matter.
That's what I was gonna say. If I don't know that, like, if it's a George Floyd thing, yep, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If it's an LGBTQ thing, it's not happening. I
Hmm.
don't think they play the same. They're not playing by the same rules in Chicago as a lot of people think they are, right? I mean, I watched a documentary probably about a month and a half ago. It was a 35-year-old guy in Chicago, and he was being interviewed by somebody, and he was asked, like, what's the scariest thing in Chicago right now? And you know what he said?
Hmm.
Teenagers between 13 and 17.
Oh, really?
The scariest thing in Chicago right now is teenagers between 13 and 17 years old. He was asked why, and he said because they have no fucking clue that life isn't infinite, and they have no morals whatsoever, and they are not afraid to shoot you without asking a single fucking question. They think it's a game. They're too
Hmm.
they're too young to understand the gravity of their decisions, and they don't care. They don't give a fuck. And so he was saying, like, you walk down the street and you see a group of teenagers, you just mind your business, say what's up to them, joke around, have a good time with them. Do not cross them, or you're gonna wind up in the pavement. And the guy doing the documentary was like, "For real?" He's like, "Yeah, man. They are the most dangerous group of people here in this city, are the teenagers. And so I don't think it matters what your cause is. If you're trying to rep Palestine in Chicago, I don't think it matters if you're LGBTQ trying to go down the wrong fucking avenue and you piss these kids off. They don't fucking care about you. They're just gonna light your ass up. And
Mhm.
it's kind of terrifying because you're starting to see similar shit like that here at home in Minneapolis. It's starting to become kids that are the problem. Young kids in Minneapolis is starting to fall in the same line of things.
Mhm.
But I guess I mean that's the progression when you go the opposite way on law and go the opposite way on, like you said, like yeah, they'll get bailed out in DC. They'll get bailed out in fucking Minneapolis and Chicago. They're soft on crime in all these places. They're gonna get let out. They're gonna get bailed. The justice system's kicking it down the road. They don't want to do anything. So when you do that, I mean, who was that kid? God, we were just talking about this a few months, 4 or 5 months back. We were both blown away by some kid in Minneapolis who was like 12 or 13 and like had stolen a car and got caught. And he'd already had like freaking 7 or 8 freaking Grand Theft Auto charges on his record. He was like 10 years old. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
I thought maybe it was and me and
No name.
Kels.
Oh, you named him.
It's fine. Uh I maybe it was me and him. And we were just shocked that this kid freaking had
Well, there's
that
all
kind of a
sorts of
background.
there's all sorts of them. There's a bunch. There's a ton in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
That's sad.
Like you watch that live on patrol every once in a while, or that on patrol live. What is it?
Yeah, it's on patrol live or live on patrol, whatever. I know what you're saying with Bob, Sheriff Bob.
Yeah, with the Ramsey County Sheriff.
Yep.
I mean, they've talked about it where it's the same. They know the kids, and they've tried and tried and tried, and they've even had parents like begging courts, like, do not let him out. Like they had a mom on one day, like, please, I can't. There's nothing I can do. We need help, and they're just not helping these kids.
Yeah. The Minneapolis police chief was just talking about that not that long ago
Yeah,
too.
going after the Mary Moriarty's office about
Yeah,
not
for the
helping juveniles. They're not doing anything to
letting them
help.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't we just had something happen? Like some young kids killed each other, right?
Well, it was
Within
somebody
the
she
last,
let out, right?
yeah, something in the last couple months where it was like 3 kids got killed or something like that,
Yeah,
and
I
they were
think so.
all under 15.
Hmm. And they all had records,
Yep. And she didn't do anything. They had gotten
right? That was
arrested
the
and
one.
got
They
let
all
out.
had
Yeah,
records,
that's
or
that's the
the
one.
guy, the shooter had a record, maybe.
They all had
They
records.
all did. Okay.
Yep. And the shooter got let out, and he shouldn't have been because it was a violent
Hmm.
crime that
Hmm.
was in for, and he got let out. And the other kids would be alive if he was in, but he killed like 3 kids. It's it's sad, man. I mean, that's what it's come to, you know.
Hmm.
And we can say it's a liberal policy or not. I mean, it really is. It is a liberal policy that they're doing these things out of guilt, I suppose, out of like they feel or they know that the black community's been left behind, and they're trying to fix it.
Hmm.
But you're trying to fix it is going the wrong direction. You're not fixing the problem by exacerbating the problem. You know what I mean? You want to stop and fix this fucking problem? Start admitting to yourself as a Democrat that you're the root of the problem. You want to fix it. That's the first way you can fix it.
Yeah.
Stop being part of the problem. All right, I'm going to take it back to Ukraine because I just saw this and this is kind of
Oh,
shocking to me.
okay.
If you were to think of a company that would meet with Zelensky, that like the head of the company would meet with Zelensky in Ukraine, and on a shady level, what company do you think that'd be?
The head of a company to meet with Zelensky on a
Yep,
shady deal.
yep, a private company, an entity,
So it's not a
and
publicly traded company.
it is.
Okay.
It is a publicly traded company.
It's a food company.
Nope. Nope. Probably the shadiest company in the entire world. And they're meeting with Zelensky right now.
Apple.
Nope. Shadier than Apple. 10 times shadier than Apple.
Microsoft.
Nope. Shadier than Microsoft.
Nobody's shadier than Bill Gates.
Well, that's one person, but Microsoft as a
Yeah, I
company is
guess.
not nearly as shady as Bill Gates. Bill Gates just is fucking, he might be the devil's son. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
BlackRock. No, it's stuff.
Oh,
It's a hedge
yeah.
fund, but
Okay. Yeah, that actually doesn't shock me. I thought you said I was gonna be shocked.
BlackRock, JP Morgan. I said it shouldn't shock you, but maybe I said
Oh,
that wrong.
oh, maybe I
BlackRock,
heard it wrong.
JP Morgan, and Vanguard. And other are now the new owners of Ukraine. Guess what Ukraine has that Lindsey Graham just came out and talked about?
All sorts of resources.
All sorts of resources. What are they? They're the rare earth minerals, and it's
Yeah.
worth $7 trillion.
Yeah.
What did we talk about? What was the war in Ukraine about? We said this a couple months ago, or maybe it's last month. It's about the grift, right?
Mhm.
There is so much money that they're doing. Now you're starting to see the real action of what's taking place. They're fighting for fucking territory. They're fighting for freaking rare earth minerals for their next great venture, which is what, solar and everything else that they're trying to accomplish. You can't do it without fucking rare earth minerals. You're
Mhm.
not going to be allowed to mine here in the United States with fucking electric vehicles. How the fuck are you going to do that? So you're not taking our rare earth minerals. Got to get it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to. That was Lindsey Graham's contention, is that we need to finish this thing with Putin because we need to make a deal, and President Trump's going to make a deal with Zelensky for rare earth minerals and food. That's what he said. What the fuck do we need Ukraine for food for? Don't we have farm fields here? I mean, you can't drive
No, but
5 minutes.
it's for over there, right? Like, I just thought it was because they supply a lot to Russia,
Well, he said that in
or
his
they
own
used to.
statement. In his own statement, Ukraine supplies Africa with about 90% of their grain,
Okay.
which is true.
Africa.
They do,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
true. Um,
I just know
but
they're huge in the grain export.
what's the deal? But he also said that Trump is going to make a deal, a good deal, beneficial for the United States and beneficial for the Ukraine, for rare earth minerals and food. What food do we need from them?
I don't know.
We're just buying their food because we can buy it. It's not like we take grain and throw it in a fucking bin and hold on to it for a just in case scenario, right? It's not oil. So I don't know. It just
I have no idea.
it seems a little odd to me that now Lindsey Graham is pushing for us to stay in this fucking war, which again he came out and said that Trump is going to have to stay in this war longer than he wants to because we're going to have to finish it. And
Mhm.
a peace deal, and he even said a peace deal with Russia that involves Russia keeping what they've taken in Ukraine is a non-starter. That
Mhm.
won't happen. I don't think you get to make that decision.
Yeah, I don't think it's up to him.
It's not up to you, Lindsey, but now you see BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan in Ukraine. Like now you're starting to see the deep state activate over there.
Mhm.
That's disgusting, bro. That is absolutely disgusting. Meeting with Zelensky ahead of time, saying, "Hey, listen, we'll help you out. We're going to offer you a bunch of money for fucking rare earth minerals."
Yeah.
The grift, man, it is fucking everywhere.
Hmm.
I swear, man.
What now?
It's just the more I look, the more I find wasteful federal spending of taxpayers' money, 535 million a year on the NPR,
Yeah, that's apparently not authorized according to Vivek.
unauthorized.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's
easy to cut.
top health officials at the NIH come forward and say that the COVID measures were completely made up before nuking his
That was
nuking.
that was one of those Project Veritas videos.
Yeah,
Or what's the other group that does it?
this one is from Mario Nafal.
Yeah, but there was an actual like
It's
it
O'Keefe
oh
Media Group.
the O'Keefe Media. Okay.
Uh, the highlights from his career-ending honesty is that he admits that he's skipping the new shots. He says people under 30 face heart risks, and vaccines don't stop COVID. He calls the approval process rushed. Yeah, you think?
No kidding.
Anthony Fauci's wife gave the approval, and Anthony Fauci sits on Bill Gates's medical board. Of course, it was rushed. 96.5% of new jobs in California this year were government jobs.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
That's fucking, I mean, that's about how it works, man. When you're that far left, you believe in giant government, big government, right? Government saves everything. You create a problem and then you create the solution, and the answer to the solution is always what? More government.
Hmm.
Did you see the Yemi Mobolade, the
Huh?
mayor of Colorado Springs?
Oh yeah. Did you see did I send you that video of Holman?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a good one. You know what? He's going to be so good for that job.
yeah. They
I mean,
apparently the rank and file in that two departments or ICE and Border Patrol are like giddy. Like they
of
get to
course
do
they
their
are.
job. Yeah.
Finally, they get to do what they're
Hmm.
supposed to do. I mean,
Hmm.
morale has to return there fast. They were getting raked over the coals for a long time, and it's not them. You know what I mean? They're getting put in a really shitty position with Holman returning. Like, finally, they got to feel like somebody's got their back. Election corruption update. I just checked again. California, 3 weeks after election day, still has 182,903 unaccounted ballots.
Well, did you see the thing in Minnesota?
No, what?
I gotta pull it up. Hold on. The Republican Party's filing a lawsuit in one of the districts. I believe it's in the district that covers Shakopee, Minnesota.
Oh boy.
There are 21 missing ballots. There are 21 people that signed the rolls more than voted, right? So there's 21 ballots that are not 20 of
Accounted
them
for?
from yeah, so 20 of them from one precinct in early voting that they can't find. They said one or two is normal, like people sign in and then leave,
Yeah.
like if it's a long way, but 20 is not. The the race was down to 14 ballots.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
14. The it was a recount and the DFL incumbent took it by 14 votes. And
I would too as well.
there's 21 missing and they're like they all they keep saying is the investigation's ongoing.
Wow. What if it comes out to be those 21 ballots were for him, the Republican? That's gonna be hell to pay. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. Make sure I didn't get this completely wrong. So it says Minnesota House Republicans plan to file a lawsuit contesting election results in a race decided by 15 votes. So it says
Six votes.
DFL incumbent Rep Brad Tabke led GOP challenger Aaron Paul on election day by 14 votes, and he increased his margin of victory by one during a recount late last week. On Monday, the Scott County Canvassing Board certified the results, but not without debate over whether or not officials should take that step at all due to lingering questions about potential votes that were not counted. County officials said that they discovered a discrepancy showing records of 21 people voting absentee, but those corresponding ballots are all unaccounted for. An investigation is underway, but officials have not shared any details about what they think happened or when a review will be complete. The recount may be over, but the investigation of the 21 missing ballots in District 54A is still ongoing.
Well, I mean, that's a really easy one to solve. You go to the 21 people and say, "Hey, did you turn in a ballot?"
Yeah,
And
unless if they know who those people are that are if it's just that there's 21, you know what I mean? If
yeah,
it's
I mean,
just that there's 21 off, you don't
you
know who it was
I
that voted
suppose
and
you
didn't.
don't. I suppose you don't. Well, no, because you can see if your ballot got returned, right? So you should have a record of if your ballot
Yeah,
was
I
received.
guess because it's absentee, you have to
It's
sign the
absentee.
outside.
So you should have for an absentee ballot, you have to have you sign it, and then you have to have a witness sign the outside, right? So
Mhm.
that's how the absentee ballot process works.
Yep,
And then
yep,
when your
yep,
ballot
yep.
comes back, the government checks it in and says your ballot was received. So
Correct.
now you have to find the 21 people whose ballots weren't received,
Right.
go to
Yep.
them and
Mhm.
ask them if they turned their ballot in. If they say no, so on and so forth. If they say yes, now you got a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Then what do? Do you ask them who you voted for? Like,
I
okay, well,
don't know. I At that point, I don't know what you do.
who did you vote for? Well, I voted
I don't.
Republican. Well,
Can I
that's
just can I just say that you don't ask that question?
yeah.
I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
look, yes, you have to ask that question. However, you should not ask that question because that's going to open up. Like,
oh
what
man,
do you
yeah.
do
I
after
mean,
that? What do you do?
well, you've already certified the election results, right? So there's nothing
Well,
you can do.
they have, but I don't think that
The state of Minnesota has it.
the state
Okay,
has to, right?
right. Yeah, they got to
The
accept it,
Secretary of
right?
State's office may not accept it.
Keith Ellison, that is that who the no, he's
That's
not the
not,
sec.
no
He's the
the
attorney
set.
general.
Yeah, it's I can't think of his name. It's nobody any better.
Yeah,
Steve something.
I
Steve.
mean, do you really want that can of worms opened? Like, because the holy crap, that'd be a battle and a half. That
Mhm.
both sides are going to fight it. No one's going to be
Of
willing to
course,
concede.
of course.
It's an Al Gore, George Bush all over again.
Yep.
Here's one for you. Pete Buttigieg will leave his post as transportation secretary, having spent $7.5 billion to build 8 electrical vehicle charging stations.
Well, okay, so Elon like went
That
after him on X on this, and
yeah,
he posted a bunch of stuff, and at the end of it, Elon's like, okay, that's a much better. It's not 8, it was 9. It was 9, and it was 9 states. It wasn't one in each state. He broke it down. I'll have to find that X feed and send it to you. But it's like it when it was laid out, like it was laid out that they weren't building any. The money was going to the states, and they had to follow a certain timeline. Like there's more that are going to be built next year,
right.
and
So
and so on. So it's not.
what I have here in this video with Pete Buttigieg is there's only 8 that are built now. The 7.5 billion was part of a program. He says this has come from Pete Buttigieg that the majority of which will be built in 2030.
Okay, that's not what he just put on X to Elon.
So that's coming from Pete Buttigieg trying to like handle questions from the press. So this program that was there, he built what they had now where they had the resources to build it. And the majority of this $7.5 billion is going to be down the road where the funds are there for the states to use to build the charging stations when they're ready and it's already been allocated. The money's already there.
Mm-hmm.
So he said the majority is going to be built when the infrastructure catches up around the 2030 timeframe. Which I mean, I was gonna get to the second half of this. Like, this is the part I hate about like all politics and like these gotcha moment things.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I am not a fan of Pete Buttigieg, also like I think we can both agree that technologically at some point the way forward is going to be batteries, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no getting around it. You're gonna have to get to there at some point. I think differently than some people do about it, where for vehicles you have to have some sort of hybrid, right? You can't just have straight battery, especially in Minnesota. You're not in this cold climate. It just doesn't do as well as in a warm climate. But it's definitely the future, right? Even in the energy industry, even in for solar fields and turbines and or wind turbines and whatever else, if they can store that energy, it becomes very viable, right? They just can't store it right now because the technology is not there.
Right.
So I hate seeing something like this where it's 7.5 billion and he wasted it. We don't know that it's a waste yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Correct.
So I'm gonna hold off on my judgment on that one because I'm gonna give this one a pass. This one's a kind of a Pinocchio moment where like, yeah, he spent the 7.5 billion that he was allocated, but at some point the future is gonna catch up to what he's trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And it sounded like it was like you were saying, like it went to the states,
Mhm.
and then it was based on like most highway projects are, right? Like you
Yep.
have to meet certain goals and you get the funding. So it's
Yep.
kind of like put into like it's not, but it's kind of like put in an escrow account, right? Like they had to spend it for the budget, like so they put it in this like it's been allocated to these as long as they meet. But I can't seem to find it now. I'll have to do some digging tomorrow. Um, but what I had said, what I read on one of them was he said that it wasn't nine specifically. It was they had built some in nine states were ready to go ahead, and so it wasn't that it was just nine. And then he posted a map on where
Yep.
they all were.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that doesn't mean there isn't going to be waste there.
Well, there's waste in everything government
Of
does,
course,
right? I mean,
100%, 100%. What
so
I
I
meant
mean,
was a majority of it wasted.
yeah. And again, like once the tech catches up and the infrastructure catches up,
Hmm.
that's going to be a useful thing. I mean, we're seeing more of these stations pop up. Not everybody can afford an EV car and everything that, I mean, fuck, not everybody can afford a new car anyway right now. It's so expensive.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, when all these prices come down, hopefully, or like we were talked about, you and I talked about before, maybe the prices don't come down, but wages go up.
Yeah.
When it balances out to where $70,000 for a vehicle isn't $70,000 when
Right.
you can afford 35,
Yeah.
um, things will become more viable, right? I mean,
Hmm.
right now it's just the infrastructure's not there, and our power grid can't handle it. You and I both know that
Yeah.
the grid cannot handle a pile of these
Well, it can't.
stations.
It can't in California,
No,
and they've
no,
outlawed sales of
yep, of the
the cars that run off of. Yeah.
fossil
Yeah.
fuel
Yeah.
burning vehicles. But
Yeah.
here's the deal with California too. Like they always say shit and then they push it back. Remember they were going to close down, was it Diablo Canyon, the nuclear plant out there?
I thought
They're
that did
like,
close.
no, they had to keep it open.
I thought it
They
closed.
tried to close it down. They wanted it closed, and Diablo was going to close down because of you know California is fucking full of nuts, nutty leftists
Mhm.
who just want to. They're hell bent on getting rid of everything, and nuclear is oh so bad and scary. And then as soon as they looked at the what would happen to their grid with closing down Diablo, well, it turns out Diablo's like 35% of their grid, 40% of their grid, as is every nuclear state, right? Like Minnesota's got 3 reactors. It's like freaking 55% of the grid or some shit like that. I can't remember what it is, but it's a huge amount of the grid. And so you can't take that much off the grid in California and survive with just solar and wind alone. You can't. As it turns out, people still like air conditioning and they still like heat. They still like to, take warm freaking showers. They still like all these things. Plus, they have all their electric vehicles. Your grid can't handle it if you're going to drop off your most power producing entity. So they had to put it back up. They planned on it and then it went back up. There's a lot of plants that are coming back online that weren't online before that had gotten closed down because it wasn't profitable. They're coming back on. Was Songs, I think, is another one.
Yeah. I don't know. I just talking to a relative about he works for a big tech company that they were the amount of power that they have. He's like they have to go nuclear. Like everyone has to go nuclear. You just saw the deal with 3 Mile Island coming back on
Yeah,
to go to Microsoft.
Microsoft. Yeah,
Yep.
I
And
just
so
saw.
Palisades is coming back online, um, which I think they got approved for the license, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they absolutely did. Yeah, and that was one that was like partially decommissioned. Like they were
No,
going.
well, so that's kind of the funny part about it. It was they sold to a decommissioned company, right? Some company bought them to decommission it.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
Oh, they
They
didn't.
they immediately bought it and applied to reinstate the license.
Oh boy, you shady bastards.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Oh man, they got money out of that deal.
I don't think they really did anything. I do
That's
remember it was like
genius.
right away. They're
That's
like,
fucking
wait a second,
genius.
let's put this back online.
That's genius because
Yeah, because they bought it pennies on the dollar.
right, when you get it that cheap, you might as well put the money into it to put it back online when
Hell yeah,
it's
there's nothing
needed.
nothing wrong with it.
No, that's awesome. That's a
Mhm.
good story. I really like that to be
I'll have
true.
to I'll have to reach out to somebody I know that used to work at Palisades to see if that's accurate.
Same guy that I know.
Negative.
Okay. Oh
But
man,
yeah, but
that's
as
funny.
these tech centers are being built, like
I
there's one being built down by us, down in between
hmm
us and where one of those nuke plants is, and that's why, right? Like
yeah,
they can
yep.
get the power from them.
I was
But the
just gonna
more
say that.
the more of
That
these data centers that need to be put up,
yes.
especially for AI,
Yep, that's what I was just gonna say.
that they're going to have to.
Yeah, there's like I can't remember what I just saw on X, but it was a vast amount of freaking data and a vast amount of energy is needed to run this facility.
Mhm.
And they're saying it's the size of like three giant Menards buildings together of just pure data and processor servers and shit like that to run this AI farm.
Yeah,
Like that's crazy. I mean, that is absolutely crazy.
yeah, like three. That's for those that are not in a Menards area. That's like Home Depot.
Yeah. Or Lowe's, whatever.
Yep.
Three of them back to back to back, and then they have to be vented, and they have to. Can't remember what the other one was. Like it has the heat control or something like that has to be in there. That's a certain thing.
Yeah, well,
It
they have cooling towers, right?
it's
Like they have.
freaking insane.
Yeah, yeah.
AI is like we're so close to AI is going to be if we use AI correctly, we're so close to curing so many diseases with AI. We're so
Hmm.
close to like finding the best way forward using AI. Like, how do we fix this problem? How do we fix that problem? What's the most efficient way to fix this problem? Like, if they use it correctly, right? But then,
But
like everything else, it can be used incorrectly and wielded as a weapon and just,
of course,
I don't know.
yeah. But they're talking about using it for like Elon and Vivek, right? They're
Yep.
talking about going through all the laws with it. They're talking about going through all the budget stuff and
Yeah.
seeing what's duplicate, what overlaps, what doesn't work,
There
what's
was a
outdated.
there was a report. I don't remember where this is from. I'll have to look for it and dig it up. It was a news article. Pharmaceutical companies don't want to use AI in the pharmaceutical industry,
No kidding.
right? Why would you not want to use it, right? I
Mhm.
mean, there's no cure, there's no money in the cure, there's only money in the treatment. So,
Well, not only that, but they don't want you going back and seeing what actual drugs work and don't.
right, right. They don't want well, there's so much more. They don't want you to freaking they don't want AI to point all the side effects when it links
Mhm.
up to VAERS and all of these
Mhm.
other programs of people who have been injured from
Uh,
vaccines. They don't
yeah,
want you to know anything.
vaccine injuries, all that.
Yeah. They don't want you to see anything.
Mhm.
So what a shady mess. This whole fucking thing is a shady mess.
Yeah,
There's
but
a reckoning.
that's not stopping anything for RFK to implement that at FDA and all the other places that they go through it, all the pharmaceutical stuff themselves.
Absolutely. I bet he does. I bet Elon
I
helps.
would
I,
imagine that they will.
I bet that's coming because that's
Mhm.
exactly the where I was going with it, or what not where I was going, but where the article was going with it when I was reading it. That's exactly why it was brought up.
Yeah,
And you know what? Honestly, it's time the American people know. You know what I mean? It's time we need to know what's going on.
hmm
Like we can't keep this up. We
for
just
sure.
can't.
Yeah.
One other thing I heard with AI, monitoring um live broadcasts of media entities for falsehoods. I don't know how you do
Interesting.
that. I don't know
And
how you do that.
what would that do? Like, where would that go? What would that?
So the thought was that it would be dumped into a program and then you'd get a score, kind of like they compared it to like restaurant chains, get a score from I don't even know who is the app who scores those restaurants, like the food industry. What's that called? It's
The health department?
health department. Yeah, yeah. You'd get a score, like a rating, right? So I mean, if you're constantly spewing out a bunch of shit that's blatantly false, not true, mostly false, whatever, your score goes down, and people can see your score like, oh, you're a C plus for your truth.
Hmm.
Oh well, whatever. And then like, oh, you're an A plus. Okay, well, I'm gonna read your news.
Yeah,
But
the only problem with that is who's programming that.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like that all comes down to like who's in charge at the time, right? So
Mhm.
I mean, you could wield that any which way you want. So I think I
Yeah,
don't know if
switch every administration.
right. I don't know if it's something a government entity can do. It's got to be a private entity to do it. And
I think so
you
too.
you make your money by being honest. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be
Playing
something
one
that
side or the other.
X would do.
Right. So I think that's something that would be pretty cool to see. I mean, the media is gonna hate it. All the freaking news companies, that whether it's a periodical or a magazine or whatever, they're gonna hate it. The View is really gonna hate it.
Well, that's just going to change what they are, right? Like it's just going to they're just going to advertise that they're a political show, not news.
Yeah, opinionated, right?
That's all
They're
that's going to
opinion
change.
shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still gonna say what they're gonna say.
Hmm.
But at least then people would
They
know,
just won't be able to call themselves news.
right? That Sonny Hostin clip, man, I love watching that clip.
Oh, the Gates,
The three
the
minutes, yeah,
statement. Yeah.
the statement, and then 3 minutes later, just the look on her face. Oh, baby, did I love seeing that where she had to read the legal note.
Yep.
She was pissed. It's like,
Yeah.
how dare you make me read this? How humiliating,
Mhm.
like, well, you should run your mouth. Tell the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not your selected version of the truth. You tell the truth.
Right.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to find. I don't know if I have it, but there was somebody, and I think it was from either the NPR or it was uh some sort of news agency who was saying something about how the truth is she doesn't want organizations and people who are reporting stuff. You can't focus on just the truth because the truth is
Oh, was the
divisive.
NPR that's like the CEO or whoever of NPR
Oh, I gotta find that.
that they focus too much on the truth and it's not they need to find consensus and not focus so much about the truth.
Yes. Like, what are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Um,
That's where that Vivek thing came out, right? Like that's what started that whole well, it's $500 million that they get that is not authorized.
I see. I didn't know that that's where Vivek came out with it.
I think so. I think I saw it tagged by either Elon or Vivek. I think that's where I saw it.
Oh boy, that's gross. I don't know if this is true, but that can't be Chuck Schumer.
Probably not.
I'm gonna send this to you. This can't be real.
Okay.
Dear Lord, don't let this be real.
Yeah, so Vivek sent out 2 days ago. It said seeking truth isn't the real problem. It's wasteful federal spending. And he had tagged that and wokeness had the video of it talking
Do,
about how the truth is a distraction from getting things done.
do you have the video?
I do.
Play that video because it's ridiculous.
Hang on a second.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the truth is a distraction, right?
Yeah. So that's the NPR CEO, Catherine Meyer.
It's just unbelievable. Dude, it's unbelievable. The truth is a distraction. The truth is it's preventing you from getting things done, which is coming to a consensus. Well, the problem with that statement is the truth is what's stopping you because half of us don't agree with what you're saying. There's only facts, right? And facts are either the truth or they're not the truth. Right? And if it's a fact, it's the truth. So it's not truth preventing you from what's getting done. It's the difference in what we want getting done that's preventing you from getting things done. You can't I don't know, man. That's messed up.
Mhm.
I'm gonna send you something else, bro, and I want you to look at this because this just the first time I'm seeing it, like the very first time I'm seeing it. And this is pissing me off, bro. This is coming right now. So, did you know that the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt had numerous freaking uh disciplines against him?
Mhm.
I just sent you the video of him shooting Ashley
I
Babbitt.
see. Yeah, I see it. I'm watching it.
That is a bad shoot all day long.
He couldn't even see out that, right?
He leaned over to shoot, but she wasn't doing anything. And he's got a tactical team right there from the Capitol Police. Why are you shooting this girl when there's a fucking tactical team right there? There is a legit 1, 2, 3, 4 guys from a tactical team right
Yeah,
there.
at least, yeah.
At least armed with freaking ballistic helmets, side weapons, and AR-15s. Why the fuck? I mean, you watch him.
Hmm.
He fires 1, 2. Now he jumps out. Caesar fires 1 shot right in the face, right in the neck. For what? What was she gonna do with a tactical team right there?
Yeah, they're right there.
They are he's the first guy to her almost as a tactical team member.
Well, the first guy to her looks like he's another member of security.
For
He's
sure. He's got an
suited.
earpiece,
He's suited up. Yeah.
suited, and he has an earpiece.
Hmm.
And he knows she's hit bad. And look at
Oh
everybody
yeah.
else, they're not even close to her.
Hmm.
What in the actual fuck, man? That's a bad shoot.
Yeah.
This is a dude who wanted to shoot somebody.
Hmm.
Oh my God, if I'm her family, I'm gonna own part of Washington. That dude should be in prison. There's a tactical team right here, within inches from her.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen this video?
Mm-mm. First time I'm seeing it.
Bro, this is fucking ridiculous.
So what does that mean? They're opening up the files. They're starting a file, or they're just releasing it all.
They're opening up Michael Bird's files. He's the guy who shot, right? And it
Yeah.
turns out he's got numerous disciplines. He probably shouldn't even have been allowed to be an officer there.
No, it doesn't sound like it. So he failed an FBI background check for a weapons purchase. Had a 33-day suspension for a lost weapon. Referral to Maryland State prosecutors for firing his gun at a stolen car fleeing his neighborhood. So I like if this is all true.
Yeah. I mean, this dude is like the Will Smith, Martin Short of frickin' I mean, this guy thinks he's part of Bad Boys. I mean, this guy's a fucking idiot. The look on the first tactical team member's face when he shoots is like, what in the
Yeah,
fuck are
because
you doing?
they're right there.
They are right next to her.
Hmm.
This fucking idiot wanted to do that. He wanted to shoot somebody. And the Democrats brushed it right under the fucking rug.
Hmm.
Dude, the tactical team member there he is the right next. I mean, he touches her within a second.
Hmm.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna have to look into that.
What the
See if we can
fuck?
find anything else on it for next time. Because
Bro,
that's
this
really
guy,
fucked up.
the terrible. That's a bad shoot, right? I'm not just
Yeah.
seeing this.
Nope.
That's a bad shoot.
That's a really bad shoot. Well, I mean,
I
we
mean,
all
we are
know it's a bad shoot anyways, because they weren't armed.
right, 100%. But I mean, I guess if you're if you're barricaded in a room and you believe the people coming through the door are going to cause harm to those behind you, and you're charged with protecting those behind you, I could see it. This does not lend any of that any credibility.
No, because the attack unit was right there.
The fucking tactical team is right there. Like, and you and I are pretty fair when we talk about good shoot, bad shoot. If it's a cop and he's in a part of a bad shoot, we call it out instantly.
For sure. We've had some pretty lively debates about it, and then you see more videos come back, and we've both changed our mind on shoots
Yeah,
before.
100%.
Like
100%.
what where we've disagreed, and then coming back to it, you're like, oh yeah, no, with this next, with this other video, like, okay, yep, you're right, it's a bad shooter. Yep, you're right, it's a good shoot.
Yeah, this is bad. A bad shoot. What the fuck? Your tactical team is right there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no chance he doesn't see the TAC unit there.
No, they're fucking right there,
Yeah.
right next to her.
They're
like,
on the stairs right next to her.
If I was that tactical team, I might have returned fire. Like, I might have fucking been like, "What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I've not seen that before.
First I've seen it.
So this must be what they're talking about. Congress has opened up the files.
Oh, they should. Her family
So it
needs
must
a lot
be.
of money out of
It
this.
must be. The shit that they have that didn't get deleted, huh?
Must be.
I don't know. We'll see if they can find
somebody
that stuff.
has it.
Yeah, I think Elon will find that shit. He's got
I
a
hope.
tech guy that hopefully they bring in, and it's like, oh, I can find all that shit.
I hope so, man. I saw all these J6 prisoners that are being held.
Mhm.
Did you see that was floating around on X? They every day they do a prayer and then they sing the national anthem at a certain time.
Mhm.
And so I just saw that video today. So it's like probably 15 or 20 of them in a wing of a prison somewhere, wherever they're being held.
Mhm.
And they're talking on the phone with somebody who's doing a documentary, and they're getting a chance to record on the other side. And they're thanking everybody, and then they do a prayer, and then in the prayer they thank God for the experience that he's putting them through and for everybody who's seeing it on the outside. And then they end the prayer, and then some guy goes 3, 2, 1, and they start singing the national anthem. All these dudes sing the national anthem. It's like, what? How are you not just the most jaded, pissed off person in the world for what's taking place?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into this, bro.
Yeah. But
This needs to be posted daily until that son of a bitch is arrested and stands trial. Michael Bird murdered Ashley Babbitt, January 6, 2021. 100%. I agree with that.
mhm.
That's a bad shoot. He wanted to shoot. And if this is true, this guy's freaking shooting at a stolen car that's fleeing the area. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't, you only see that shit in the movies. Nobody does that for real. Unless
Mhm.
you're a fucking idiot. Wow. I have never seen this video. I thought I saw, we saw what they gave us, right? The approved. And you couldn't really see because it was from the other angle. Let's reopen Ray Epps too. Remember who Ray Epps was?
Mhm.
He was during the whole January 6th, he was the number like 3 or 4 most wanted person on the list. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks after January 6th, his name came off the list. He
Yeah.
just disappeared. Turns out that he was an informant for the FBI.
Mhm. Hmm. But all right, man. Well,
Wow.
we got some work to do
Yeah, well, at least we have a path, man. That's gonna be
Yeah.
let's dig into that one.
for sure.
I guess that's what we're looking forward to, eh?
I guess so.
All right, well, that's that, huh?
Yeah.
I suppose we should wrap her up, eh? Let's just be done and freaking plan on that. Everybody can just listen to the next one.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in and watch the video, man. Watch the video because you'll see what we're talking about on the next go around. That pisses me off.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll try to repost that tomorrow.
That's fucked up. All right, well, thanks
But-
for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Hit
Yeah,
'em.
sounds good. Check us out on our website, bluecollartakes.com, social media pages, Truth, X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I think, still.
For now.
But yep, for now. So, anyways, thanks for
All right, well,
listening.
thanks, everybody. Take
All right.
care.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Blue Collar Takes. Oh, and fuck YouTube.